Hunter Biden can't call daddy on this one. No. Daddy's off limits on this because you see, there's a few people over in Congress. I'm talking about James Comer. I'm talking about Jim Jordan, and they mean business. So they just came out moments ago with this filing. Let me share this with you because you see, here we go. They're making sure that he knows he has to comply with the subpoena. He can't just say, oh, I'm not going to do this. He thought maybe he wouldn't have to comply with the subpoena. Can you imagine that? There was even some talk of, well, maybe I'll do a Zoom. No, buddy, you can't do a Zoom. You can't do a Zoom because you have to comply. And if you don't comply, then guess what? You're held in contempt of Congress. Yeah, that's how it works. So sorry, Hunter. I mean, I know you've tried. I know you've tried multiple times in multiple creative and different ways. If it wasn't for that one judge who just said, this really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, you might have actually gotten off. But the truth is, when you've got various shell companies, various LLCs collecting, according to House Ways and Means and Oversight Committee, $24 million from overseas entities, and you have 70 plus suspicious activity reports known as SARS in the banking industry. That's like a big deal to get. Treasury Department had to be notified, et cetera, because you know what? It looked a little weird, just a little weird that he was getting all this money in from overseas clients, and yet there really wasn't any work being done. Nobody could quite figure it out. Well, I mean, we've heard from some of the business partners, have we not, that part of what was going on, entirely what was going on, was that they were selling the Biden brand. And when you're selling the Biden brand, what does that mean? Okay, like we're not morons. It means you're selling access. Exactly. You are selling access. I just want to remind you guys, this is a live program. And if you go take a look at YouTube right now, you can join the chat. I am looking at a lot of your comments here. It's good to see, as I always say, so many familiar faces and also some new ones. So thank you all for that. Again, live program at this moment. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Really, really important. So Hunter Biden is now going to have to, if you're, mark your calendars, it's actually my birthday, December 13th. Let's see what happens with Hunter Biden on December 13th. I think there's going to be some real fireworks, right? All right, turning to the other bit of news that we've got breaking right now. And this is on Pops. So Pops had a lot of names that he liked to use. Some of them are kind of amusing. But there was that, beware thing, the Robert Beware. Beware of what, right? You say? Anyway, the House committee just released this. Let's go to it because they actually had a kind of a nifty graphic and everything. They spent a little time on this. Well, nifty for them. What's peculiar and what they're citing here is how Biden had all these different alias emails, right? Some 300 and what? I mean, there were a lot of them, 300 and some odd various emails under these different, 327 emails, not 300 aliases. Although he had a lot of aliases. But what they are pointing out is that there's somehow this velocity of emailing going back and forth between Hunter's business partner, and these aliases that Joe Biden operated under while he was vice president. And this was happening, ladies and gentlemen, while he was preparing and then in Ukraine for his big trip. Now, why is that relevant? Well, first of all, you're not supposed to be selling access. That's kind of just like a primer, shall we say. I mean, even Obama, say what you want about him, but he said, oh, listen, I don't want any cabinet members, I don't want any members of my staff doing any lobbying business or their families for that matter. And so what did Hunter do? He went out and got himself some lobbying business in direct defiance of his dad's boss. Now, for all those who say, oh, well, when he was a grown man, whatever. Okay, but I'm sorry. His dad is still the vice president of the United States of America. In that case, if you can't control your son, he's going to do some shady stuff. Maybe you ought to take a back seat, Joe. Maybe you ought to resign. Seriously. But no, you didn't do that. Not only did you not do that, somehow you decided to get involved in this email traffic. Again, going back to that graphic, because I think this is important for you guys to see, and they certainly took a little time to create this. They want you to see that he was emailing while getting ready for that trip to Ukraine. Now, I want to remind everybody what was at stake at that point, because remember how Hunter had that huge plum deal with Burisma, natural gas company, now defunct, a really kind of sketchy natural gas company. He was making like some $80,000 a month in a board job. Like that doesn't normally, like you don't even make that in a year in most board jobs. So to get that kind of money in a month, plus his business partner, Devin Archer, was getting the same amount of money. I mean, that's kind of unheard of, unless it's really not just a typical board job, unless it's about something else. And in this case, circumstantial evidence. I mean, look, you know, you're innocent till proven guilty most of the time. You look at this evidence and you say, wait a second, how is it that Hunter is getting all this money from this company? And this company was really annoyed because it had this prosecutor that would be Victor Shokin out trying to investigate the company. And they didn't want the investigator on their trail. So they hire Hunter? And the upshot of it is, sure enough, Joe Biden went over there. He volunteered to the CFR, Council on Foreign Relations, of which I was a member, and Richard Haas and he, who's head of the CFR, they sat down and they did this little interview. And Joe was quite proud of it. He said, I fired the guy. And there were some obscenities laced in there too, as he talked about his trip to Ukraine. And he was saying that Shokin was corrupt. But hey, what if it was actually the total reverse of that? In other words, you get a corrupt company, and the corrupt company goes out and hires this no good kid, not even a kid, right? He's older than me. And he gets dad to go over there and do what that company wants. I mean, that's the big question. That's what this is really effectively about. Was the White House for sale vis-a-vis Hunter Biden? And that's what we're trying to get to the bottom of. And so that is why you're looking at the potential for impeachment. Just yesterday, James Comer was, wagging around this new thing, the direct deposit that we saw from Hunter's companies going into Pop's accounts. Now, the Democrats will say, no, nothing to see here. It's just some car loans. But again, you don't usually mingle. Like, this is kind of accounting 101, okay? You do not mingle your business accounts with your personal accounts. Otherwise, you do run the risk of being accused of everything that Hunter and Joe are being accused of right now. And so this has to move forward. It has to move forward, and we have to get to some kind of discovery, more than a discovery process, right? And the only way you're going to do that is if you, in fact, get to impeachment. Now, I'm hearing back channels. They think that they have the votes, so that could be coming any day now. But the big news of the moment, again, breaking again, is that Hunter Biden is going to have to testify, and he can't get his way on this. He is going to have to be there on December 13th. And let's just say, I suspect we will see some fireworks. Won't we? As we should. Look, I don't know. I don't know if Biden is going to be able to make it.